I'm incredibly pleased to be joined by Mike Gannon, Chief Revenue Officer at Snowflake. Mike, the audience is really excited to hear from you today, not only given your experience in driving successful go-to-market strategy, but also specifically around your leadership and enterprise experience with data and AI.
It's exciting to be here. Thanks for having me. What a platform to talk through my experience at Snowflake. What a wonderful 6 months it's been being here in the industry now, going on 28 years. So I'm super excited to be here at Snowflake at this inflection point where data and AI is unlocking unbelievable value for every industry that's out there.
Thank you for that, Mike. Now, let's dive into your personal philosophy as a leader. With regards to enterprise AI, what's your take and how does it impact your leadership strategy today?
Incorporating that tech deep into my organization has led to incredible results. So even before coming to Snowflake, I was, ChatGPT, Grok. I was always using it, going into a sales call, using it for any question I had. I mean, it was incredibly powerful to see the intelligence I had in my hand. But then I come into Snowflake and I see how much we're eating our own dog food, and this is where I think the real productivity enhancements come into play, and it's showcasing itself in a few different examples. First and foremost, we're looking at Snowflake Intelligence, which we announced at Summit this year. We're using our own AI-driven sales outcomes to ramp up new employees. We've got a productivity gain. If I can get a fully ramped employee instead of productive in a year in 6 months, how impactful is that, right? So we're using this AI-assisted engine where I can literally have a conversation with our Snowflake Intelligence about anything about the business. So can a rep. I can have a rep go in and say, I'm a new rep, I'm going on a sales call. What do I need to know? Help me curate content for this conversation. And it'll go and it'll basically start identifying other manufacturing use cases, top 3 initiatives going on with that customer, everything that's going on with that customer's contract, support tickets, fully curated type presentation. That rep is now going in front of a CTO or a vice president of data and saying, hey, let me introduce myself, but let me deliver you some value in terms of everything about your account, what's happening in the manufacturing sector, and other use cases we're exploring in discrete manufacturing. All of a sudden, I've got a fully productive rep in 6 months as opposed to that person being there a full year. So we're leveraging Snowflake Intelligence internally for an AI assist. Our SE community, whenever they're in front of customers, one of the biggest things is a customer has a vision alignment. We've got a platform. We're trying to draw the gap on how do we connect the platform to that outcome. We're using Cursor to build curated demos to get in front of a customer and say, okay, I understand what you're trying to accomplish. Let me prototype what that looks like for you. And we've got over 1,100 systems engineers worldwide, 100% participation using Cursor in real world, sitting with a customer side by side and basically putting together a pilot that's curated for that particular customer's business outcome or use case. Incredibly powerful. Our customer support organization, we've identified a 5% reduction in calls coming into Snowflake because we are providing customers AI assistance on a particular issue they're having with the platform. It's eliminated 500 hours of requirement for a customer support engineer to handle a basic question. So now we're redirecting those support engineers on mission, critically Sev1 events, whereas a basic question coming in for a knowledge base is using this. So, whether it's in sales, pre-sales engineering, customer support, we're leveraging AI first in every possible go-to-market function. So I'm excited by not only what Snowflake has made available to our go-to-market organizations, but the impact it's actually having on customers to say, hey, I don't have to wait on hold 5 minutes to get an engineer to answer a simple question when I can go into a portal and do it myself. So, we're truly eating our own dog food, and it's showing up in great results. But then that turns into what customers look at Snowflake as is not only are we eating our own dog food, but can we help them connect good vision alignment and business outcomes with the technology? Because that's probably the most difficult part. The tech's kind of the easy part. It's really helping customers unlock a vision, right? Deriving more value from their data and doing it in a trusted, secure, and easy fashion. I mean, that's the value. It's seeing that entire supply chain of, a bright idea leading to pure execution and doing it in a shorter amount of time and unlocking value. That to me is like the most impactful, but I'd say fulfilling part of this role right now. When we're interacting with organizations and we see organizations that are getting it right, the exciting thing is really seeing the business impact they're having. As an example, we've been on this journey with AstraZeneca for years. they started getting it right. They started identifying and building data products to do preventative health for lung screening, right? Real impactful stuff. When they had the right data models in place and they had the right data sources in place, right, they started to unlock and create an opportunity to do preventative screening of lung cancer, right? Something near and dear to obviously millions of Americans and people worldwide. 90% preventative success rate on screening for lung cancer using these data products. Now, that's an impactful story, but how do we get there? How do we do that for AstraZeneca? Well, what typically took 6 months and 16 engineers to create, within 4 days and 2 engineers, we're creating the same volume of development and delivering the same outcomes. So now you've got over 118 different products being created to do more preventative screening for things like oncology. So for me, when you see customers that get it right, and you can tie it to an incredibly important life-saving incident, that's super powerful, right? It's exciting to see the tech at work. It's more exciting to see the impact it has on lives.
Very well said, Mike. And when it comes to leadership, especially as one gets more senior within an enterprise, prioritization becomes even more important. For business leaders who are thinking about where to invest in AI for maximum ROI, what can you share and what are your top data and AI initiatives? And as a follow-up, are there examples of companies currently leading the way with regards to those initiatives?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I've been in front of probably 75 executives in my first 6 months here. And I'd say every customer is in a different phase of the AI maturity curve. Early stage customers are looking at AI as an opportunity to cut cost. Removing legacy warehousing platforms, putting that in Snowflake, it's 45% cheaper. We're giving 30% better performance. There's a lot of customers that are looking to modernize their data strategy just by starting with the cost-cutting initiatives and driving a little bit more value. The more advanced customers are the ones that are leveraging really data and AI to really unlock true business value and truly create revenue streams. And I think this, the biggest conundrum CIOs and CTOs had for the last 30 years is the CFO looked at the IT budget as 70% was on maintaining existing assets and only 30% of that budget was being spent on innovation. You've got a real opportunity now to flip that curve. Now you've got CIOs and CDOs that are looking at ways to monetize and commercialize their data to create a revenue stream, right? What an exciting opportunity in tech to be working with these executives to say, hey, we're not a cost center anymore. Right, we're not only going to deliver great business outcomes, we can create true revenue streams. We've got examples at like Fiserv, where they started the journey with Snowflake 4 years ago, and they were looking at ways to create efficiencies with their warehousing. We started to connect ways in which we can give more insights into their data. And a couple of years later, they get into this opportunity. We're now creating a revenue stream. They're taking transactional global payments data and delivering that to customers to give them more insights, but that's a revenue stream for them. So what was a burden to how they ran the business, we cut costs, we drove efficiencies, we increased performance, and I see every customer as an opportunity to do that. So for me, this is the unlock.
For some, this might seem a little overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. To get started, how should business leaders think about laying that foundational groundwork to genuinely capitalize on AI and why?
I think there's an opportunity for business leaders to just have a conversation about what they're trying to do as a business. I think it can be very vulnerable for a business executive to say, I don't know. But I think it starts with, hey, if we had the ability to do X, we can deliver Y in terms of business revenue or outcomes. And I think getting past that vulnerability is important. But when you showcase how other customers have gotten there, to set your egos aside and say, hey, we solved a problem for a major company by doing X, Y, and Z. That executive leans in and says, okay, you've done this before. I need help. Because not everyone knows how to do this. This is a new frontier for many ways, and it can be an anxious opportunity. But what I feel is incredibly rewarding about the Snowflake relationship is the community effect we bring in with other customers to say, hey, I know where you're at. You're in that maturity curve where you're just trying to drive some cost savings and drive efficiency. So this company was there 4 years ago. Why don't you talk to them, and then I'll show you the journey they went went through where they start to unlock and drive commercialization and monetization out of the data. And all of a sudden the anxiety drops. The executive feels good about talking to another customer who went through that before. Because again, everyone's on a different stage of the journey. So I think, getting customers to feel less vulnerable about the anxiety, we're still in the early innings of AI. So I think, creating these reference customers, what we did at Summit, we had an unbelievable attendance at Summit. When I saw customers talking to each other and I got to step back and just listen to the conversation, to me, it's the greatest sales campaign you have. It's just putting two customers together. So for me, I think that the biggest unlock right now is, we can come in and get some quick wins on, ROI and TCO, but the real unlock is when an executive talk to other customers and say, hey, you guys went through this 2 years ago. How'd you start pulling together the business, the data analytics team into a room to start delivering outcomes? And that to me, when my team can create that synergy, and they can create, the collaboration of business and IT and data leads, that's the greatest value we can provide, as being a true partner to our customers in that sense.
An exciting next chapter. And Mike, before we go, what are you most excited about with regards to the future of AI?
This is a really, really powerful technology. For the most part, I've been insulated to having commercial conversations with customers who are looking to deliver, big, broad business outcomes. But there's a very powerful capability in our hands. I think being responsible with it, and working with institutions around the world to make sure that, we're using this as a force for good and not a force for bad. That to me is really the stage that we're starting to get at, because these models are becoming incredibly powerful. I think they say a human brain has 100 trillion parameters. And they say with the compute power that we have, within 5 years, you'll have an AI with 100 trillion parameters to search from. So you're getting to real natural intelligence in a very short period of time. And so, like I said, early innings, powerful. I'm excited to see where this goes. There's going to be some pretty fascinating, eye-opening business opportunities in front of us. So I've always been fascinated by technology. I am fascinated to see where this market's going to go. Early innings. I'm glad to be at the front lines of it. And, I certainly hope that we do our best to help customers deliver the most value, deliver the best outcomes, but do it responsibly.
Well, Mike, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for your valuable insights. I think today's discussion really highlighted that business leaders such as yourself are critical for setting the pace and strategy for adopting AI within the organizations. And it's all about identifying the right use cases and actually getting started. We covered a lot. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Great time.